View it. Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas. Welcome to this rather unplanned live. But we thought, why the heck not? We'll have a chat. We might as well have a chat with any of you who happen to be wanting to take a break from the arguments and the bickering and the infighting and the normal stuff that goes with a family Christmas, arguing about what present's the most expensive one or why so-and-so got 7 presents and I only got 6 and all this kind of stuff that goes with the Christmases that luckily Sean and I are able to avoid at the moment these days, aren't we?
Yeah, other than Elvis getting more presents than all of us put together.
Well, that's true. He did. It is a record year for Elvis. I'm sure he's going to be absolutely delighted. But his little, I don't know, constitution's the wrong word, isn't it? But his excitement or whatever wouldn't cope with being presented with all 15 of his wrapped gifts at once. So he's going to have a 15 days of Elvis's Christmas, I suppose. And we started this morning with the first one. Now, we have one person watching. We did have 2. The one could actually be me, maybe, because I think I might have left myself on there. I don't know. Feel free to say hello. I'm not expecting anybody.
Hello.
I wasn't really expecting anybody because, people have things to do, don't they? Sometimes you do need a break at Christmas, though, and this could provide a thing. But I don't know. We could, of course, be up against the wonderful Criminoli, because I believe he was doing a live today. So
yeah.
So
Alan mentioned that. Yeah,
we could be up against him, and I don't think it'd be much of a contest, to be fair, with numbers. But hey ho, hello, hi, Merry Christmas to you. So yeah, Sean, you were mentioning in your live yesterday with the imitable Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics that you were planning to read A Christmas Carol again today. Have you managed to make any headway with that?
I've read the first stav, or whatever.
I never know. Stave.
Yeah. That's all I got, because I'm reading the published one, and then I'm reading and comparing it to the manuscript version. And I just got 20 pages done, and that was it.
Are there any noticeable differences?
I haven't compared it yet. I haven't read the.
Okay.
I've only read the original. I mean the published version. So I haven't read the other one. So I'm gonna. The next one I read maybe this evening, if I don't fall asleep, is the whatchamacallit, the manuscript version.
Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you so much. And readings like breathing. Just listening to the radio, the yearly top 2000 on Dutch radio from Christmas to New Year's.
2000 songs?
I guess it must be.
Wow. How the heck did you do that?
I don't know. I thought at first it was like from the year 2000, but yeah, maybe.
Jeez.
No.
That'll take to do it well.
And you were watching, you said, one of the Christmas Carol films.
Yeah. I watched the 1935 Seymour Hicks one. It's on YouTube, but it's a really, really bad version. Like I don't dare watch it on. If you watch it on your phone, it might look half decent. You watch it on your tablet, and you go, "Oh, that looks bad."
I certainly won't watch it on the computer then.
Oh, geez, no, it'll be just the faces will be all smudged out probably. But I do like it. It is different, and they changed the ending. He says, God bless everyone, or whatever. It's not Tiny Tim that says it.
Yeah, God bless us, everyone.
Yeah.
Just search NPO Radio 2 and listen. Oh, okay. Well, might do that later. Quite fancy snuggling up with a book, and I can listen to some. I guess the music is international. It's not just Dutch music.
Is it 2,000 songs of 2022 or 2,000 songs of all time?
I don't know. It's a yearly top 2000.
And then I wouldn't have a clue what any of them are. I would never know all 2000.
Maybe it's just 2000 songs by 2 Unlimited. I know it's international. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that sounds good. I will.
Were there 2000 songs released in 2022?
Internationally, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't know
This
any
is
of them.
the top. This is the top 2000.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know the bottom one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll have to check that out. NPO Radio 2.
NPO. It almost sounds like NPM or NPN, National Public Radio. NPR. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. NPO Radio 2 is a public service radio station from the Netherlands, broadcasting in an adult hits format, focusing on music from the 80s to the 2010s and current hits. Huh. Well, yeah, I might check that out. I do like a bit of music, so there we go. I've been listening to a lot of the Cathedral classics, for Christmas. People can vote in the first week of December, and Bohemian Rhapsody is number one. Yeah, as usual. I'm not surprised. It always seems to be.
So it's not just 2022 then.
No, I think it's of the. Oh, it's probably 2000 for 2000 years.
And then it could be 2022.
Yeah, it could be. No, I think it's. There will be some Dutch songs sprinkled throughout. Well, I mean, I like to broaden my horizons, so it should be fun. I think the only Dutch, and they are Dutch, aren't they? The 2 Unlimited ones who did that No Limit. No. Right, I'm not going to say anymore in case I get copyright striked.
Oh, well, isn't that no, yes.
No, that's
no, that was him doing it.
yeah. So, oh dear. I tell you, I've never had so much use out of this hat as I have done this year with wearing it in all the videos for the season. I wore it yesterday to my Christmas dinner, and it was fun. I took some Christmas crackers with me. I had some left over from I think last year, because it's not a Czech thing to use Christmas crackers. You know Christmas crackers, right? You have them in Canada? Yeah.
Not generally, no.
No, but you know them from the UK.
Yeah.
And it was so nice. I pulled them out because I took them like 2 or 3 years ago when I went, and the children were like, it's amazing just in like 2 or 3 years how much older the kids have got. There's a big difference between like 9 and 12 and 11 and 14, in terms of their mentality and whatnot. And the girl, she was like, yes, and I was like, oh, it's so sweet. It's like, just these crappy little crackers, with the little gifts inside or whatever. But it was fun, and what's so nice is they embraced it. So like they all pulled it. I mean, the 90-year-old great grandma was there, and she was pulling it, wasn't sure, and all this stuff, and they all sat there with their paper crowns, which is not, it's not a Czech tradition at all. But we're eating our, fried fish schnitzels and potato salad, and everyone's wearing the English crowns. It was really sweet. I mean, I have to say, I had a great time. They are a really lovely family. So
I think the first time that I ever saw or heard of them was on The Good Neighbors.
Okay.
Or The Good Life.
The Good Life, yeah. I watched. I suppose you don't watch TV, do you? I watched on Channel 4. They had Dickensian Christmas with that Miriam Margolyes.
Oh, yeah.
And she's talking about A Christmas Carol and her love, and they go into like, what you call it?
Did they have to censor it?
Well, no. But the funny thing is, you could check it out on YouTube, because I didn't realize Channel 4 has a YouTube channel where they put sometimes extra stuff that they don't broadcast, like whatever. And there's Miriam Margolyes and Susie Dent. If you do you know Susie Dent? She's the Dictionary Corner woman from Countdown.
No.
You might know her if you see her. And I'm just surprised how old she is, because she's a good-looking lady, and I thought she was like probably late 40s. I was shocked to see that she's like almost 60. But then in my head, I was like working it out. I think, well, I guess she's got to be, really, because she was doing it for a while. But they have like a 10-minute video of them discussing Dickensian swear words. And it's funny. It is funny. I'll send you the link. It's worth watching. But no, it's not particularly vulgar, this one. But she does like meet some of Dickens's descendants, and they talk about what Christmas was like then, and she tries a few recipes and this stuff, and they make a couple of the recipes from the that would have been used in a Christmas Carol. She talks about her own feelings towards Christmas. And it was so funny, though. She does talk about like how, because she's from a Jewish family, but she said as a kid they did have like a Christmas dinner, and then she was telling the people at the own dinner that she was throwing that her mum used to invite all the lonely people at Christmas, who had nowhere else to go, to come for Christmas dinner. And she said, of course, they were all very dull, which is probably why they were on their own Christmas anyway. So she said it wasn't particularly exciting. But what shocked me was she went to Fortnum and Mason, and they had their like selection of Christmas crackers, and they ranged from like, I don't know, 270 pounds all the way up to £1,000 for like, I don't know if it was half a dozen or 10 or whatever Christmas crackers. And what annoyed me is we didn't find out what was in the £1,000 box of Christmas crackers to justify £1,000. I mean, could you imagine spending £1,000 on a box of Christmas crackers?
Well, even 200 and some pounds.
No, even 200 and something, exactly. Yeah.
It seems like something you could buy, 6 of them for a tenner. That's what you should be.
I mean, she did pull one of the, I think it was the 200 and something quid ones, and out popped one of those waiters' friends. It's like a knife, but it has the corkscrew on it as well, that the waiters in posh restaurants use, to uncork the wine. It has a knife to cut the seal and all this stuff. And I was thinking, even if you have 6 of them, is it really 250 quid's worth? But it was interesting. She goes into Dickens's work with the Great Ormond Street Hospital as well, because he was one of the governors for it, the Children's Hospital, and he was really, really affected by like child issues. I mean, I suppose it comes across in his writing and stuff, but he was on the board for his whole life, and he did a series of like fundraisers, but like in the beginning, he did some public readings of a Christmas Carol, and raised around £3,000 through the first run, which was like today like $500,000, and it allowed them to buy the building next door. Yeah, so it's like pretty cool, really. Yeah.
Well, didn't Barry give them the proceeds?
It gave them the rights to Peter Pan. That's right. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But of course, now it doesn't make much difference.
Yeah, it's got to be in the public domain by now.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, that's a wonderful thing. He seemed like a really decent fellow, actually. So that made me happy. Yeah.
Well, I don't like. There's a lot of things. I guess he didn't treat his wife or wives very well. So.
Yeah, it's always difficult, those kind of things, though, isn't it? Because we can look at it and just like in a black and white sense and say, he was a bit of a dick because he treated his wife badly. But we don't really know, of course, everything that goes on, do we?
Wow.
Sorry?
How does she treat him?
That's it. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Sorry, I'm gonna probably some of your your garlic powders. Oh, see, every time your garlic powder is sifting through the airwaves, isn't it? Yeah, so it's always very hard, I think, to make such judgments, black and white judgments like that, and say, yeah. But I think when he seems to have been decent in other ways, at least, and perhaps that goes some way to some form of redemption. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, so when are you starting your January reading, like literally from the first? Are you hitting the ground running with Monsieur Dumas, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet because there's still several things that I've got to finish, and I'm behind, a few days behind already. So we'll see. Depends how this week goes, but yeah, I won't be starting until January for sure. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel ashamed that the last 2 days I haven't read anything pretty much, apart from a bit of A Christmas Carol today. But I just, well, I was at the pub 23rd, wasn't I? And trust me, I wasn't in any condition to do any reading by the time I got home. And then yesterday I was out, and I was so tired, probably still from the night before, that I wasn't able to do anything yesterday. So
yeah, because normally I was just so tired this afternoon too. Like I say, I watched the 1935 Christmas Carol, and then I dozed for a little bit while the turkey was roasting. But
roasting away.
Yeah, and I normally read while that's happening. I usually read the Christmas Carol, but I only got like 1/5 of it done. So,
did you do you have to baste? Do you baste your turkey?
Not a lot.
No.
I don't do a lot because I make gravy, so I don't mind it dry because that's what gravy's for.
And you make the gravy actually make the gravy, or it's made from Bisto or something?
Well, I use some of the because I put water in the pan
Right.
for the turkey, and then it sort of mixes up with a little bit, so I get a little bit of a taste. I used to do it always with flour, but it's just so much easier with the Bisto.
The granules. Mm.
Yeah.
And so what would be on the menu tomorrow? Is it turkey sandwiches? Oh no, you said you haven't got bread.
So. Yeah, no, it'll be just some more turkey. I got still some mashed potatoes. The Brussels sprouts, I didn't think I could use those because they were a little old, but I figured, okay, well, I just looked at them and I just peeled them a little. So I like, they're about half the size they normally are, but they're fine.
Bubble and squeak.
I have no idea what that is, but I've heard of it.
Oh, it's what you do with the leftover veg generally, especially the Brussels and whatever, and the potatoes. You fry it all up in like a kind of I don't know, hash or whatever. It's nice.
All I do is I just put the stuff on the plate with the vegetables, mashed potatoes, with the turkey, the congealed gravy, and pop
in the microwave.
In the microwave, yeah, and Robert's your father's brother.
But you were saying you're not a cranberry sauce fan.
Oh no, I don't. I can't stand cranberries. And,
see, I used to like a turkey and stuffing and cranberry sandwich.
Like, I don't know, because it's sweet, isn't it? It's cranberries.
I like that sweet and savory mix.
Yeah, I don't like sweet with meat. I don't. It's like, there's Chinese stuff that has sweetness to it, and I don't really care for it. Like
the sweet and sour stuff, not for you.
No.
The sticky ribs.
Not unless it's just a barbecue, and that's the farthest I'll go because barbecue sauce is Swedish, sweet-ish, not Swedish.
Barbecue sauce. Yeah. So no, I mean, I don't know. I guess I do miss the full roast. But I did enjoy. I mean, I had leftovers. I had leftover carp schnitzel with potato salad, which maybe I grant you doesn't sound that exciting, but when you get used to it, and when when you've actually had this type of Christmas for a while, you do kind of grow to like it. I mean, I was looking forward to it yesterday. I was looking forward
Not
to it.
fish. I could never get used to eating fish like that.
Well, you don't have to. I had a choice. I had a choice between pork schnitzels, chicken schnitzels, or the carp, but I wanted to be more traditional, so I did go for the carp, and I'm actually glad I did, because normally it's a really annoying fish because it's so bony. You're just pulling them out. But touch wood, the pieces I've had and the one I had today, unless they were so small and fine that I ate them, I didn't notice anything particularly bony about it. So whether they just did a really good job in the preparation or not, but I wasn't sure because she gave us a little plate to put the bones on, so I think she was expecting there to be some left behind. But yeah, but I quite like it, and I have to say the potato salad is just it's different, I think, from what you're imagining. Slightly, not that much different, but because I don't know about in Canada, but like potato salad in England for me was always something that was like an accompaniment to barbecue. It wasn't like here, as I say, it's used with quite often schnitzels. Yeah, so you wouldn't have like schnitzel and chips or schnitzel and whatever. The big thing is schnitzel and potato salad, and they just do it really well. It has a really good flavor. They often put in the gherkins.
Yeah, I like it when I do that.
Everything's on a smaller scale, because like in the UK, and I don't know about North America, but my feeling is that the chunks and stuff are bigger. I don't know, but here everything is diced really into like little cubes. So you've got carrot, you've got peas, you've got salami even that they dice up with it as well, and gherkins, and I guess some other stuff, and they mix it with sometimes a mix of mayonnaise, or a mix of mayonnaise and yogurt, or and it's good. I have to say, it does have a good flavor. And each family, of course, has their own recipe and their own way of doing things, and you do notice it. I mean, a few days before Christmas, I missed it this year. There's actually a potato salad contest that usually takes place in town, right, at the cinema, and they have the judging and everything. So
a cheese grater is great for gherkins. Like you can put that in tuna for tuna salad. Everything, anything and everything with lots of garlic.
Yeah, well, there's usually a lot of garlic in Czech things as well. So it's yeah. Oh, Merry Christmas to you too, Brian. Merry Christmas indeed. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're surviving the weather over there. It's crazy, isn't it? In the US, Texas as well was somewhere that had. I'm sure I read had pretty crazy weather. I was speaking to someone, and they were like, it was -2 Fahrenheit. This is what, -20 in Celsius? It's crazy.
I remember growing up. Well, it wasn't Celsius at the time, but in Canada, I remember it being 45, -45, 50 is the lowest I ever remember. But -45, 40, I think it's -40 Celsius and -40 Fahrenheit. They're the same.
Yeah, they intersect. Yeah,
but
that's insane. That is cold. That is really, really cold. It probably explains why you don't feel the cold like normal human beings.
Well, since the COVID, that's changed. Since I had COVID, I do feel I do feel cold more often now than I ever did before, and that is a symptom of long COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until like every time I sort of realize that I have something that is strange for me for a long time, and then I go search for it. I go, yeah, that's another thing that's part of long COVID.
Well, feeling the cold, that might be something that's affected me too, because I've never had the heating on so much as I've had it on in the last month. But I'm looking at my top, and when I have my hands here, it looks like I've got braces.
Yeah, well, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking you had.
Oh, Santa Claus. What's Brian got to say there? The odd cold burst got down to 16 Fahrenheit. It feels like a temp in the negatives, but nothing compared to anywhere north of Houston. Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? It's definitely
And it's just raining here now. It's just raining.
here too. I mean, we had all that. It was like minus 10 Celsius, like on Sunday last week, a week ago, and by Thursday, all the snow had gone. You know,
I never got that cold. It stayed for about a week. That was hovering around 0 Celsius here, and there was a bit of snow, but it didn't never stayed.
Different stages in our lives, though. I'm the ghost of Santa past. I don't know, Sean. Are you ghost of Santa present or Santa future?
Not sure.
I live Northwest Florida, and it was 16 the night before last.
Yeah, that's pretty nippy for down there.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, all I'm hearing now is just rain slashing against the window.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Mm. Well, I did call for it.
Now, I've got a point about this Bulla Litton's. Do you not think he's being unfairly treated? I mean, I read the full intro. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I understand that, like,
what are you talking about?
The line "It was a dark and stormy night" is the start to a novel by Litton. Is it Bulla Litton?
Yeah.
And I think if you take it as what it is, it's fine. But it's just because the connotations of that line, and I mean, it's a bit crazy sometimes, isn't it? When we judge people and say, "Oh, it's so what do you call it? Cliched or whatever." When you think that, but if he's the first person to write that line, we shouldn't have a go at him for it because it's been seen as being bad writing.
I wrote a poem that used that in the thing, and people went crazy on it. I think it was it was a short poem, and they're going. I go, well, that's the point of it. That's the point. I did it purposely for that. Read the poem and you'll see, And it's like, never mind. Woof.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. 28 degrees. It must be horrible.
Where's that?
Aruba.
Oh.
In the Dutch Antilles, is it? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it was Steve maybe was talking about it the other day, and I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh. I read the first couple of paragraphs. I didn't think it was like terrible writing. I've certainly seen worse. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Buller Litton was a very popular writer.
Yeah.
I passed up every so often on eBay. You see these complete sets of his, like, that are 20 or 30 volumes for, like, 15 pounds or something like that. But he wrote a lot of stuff, and some of it is kind of interesting, like the Pompeii or whatever one. Or
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you write enough, some of it's going to be good, surely. So
because they made a very big silent film out of that.
Very, yes, that's right. That's right, Brian. Definitely. Yeah, the Dutch Caribbean. So, yeah, it sounds really tough. 28 degrees. Though, to be honest, 28 degrees is a bit too hot
Oh,
for
come
me.
on. Yeah, like it's
23 is a good temperature.
Yeah, that's getting on the high side for me. 18, 19 is just perfect.
Shorts and t-shirt.
And have the sun out. It's like that's really nice. When the sun's out, when it's like 19 degrees, because it doesn't get too hot. It's just nice.
I quite like those winter days when the sun's out, the clear sky, the sun's out. It's cold, but it's fresh. It's got that nice, crisp feel to the air. So
Yeah, about 10 years ago or so, I was living just in the next town, sort of nearby, but it's connected. And it went down, and there was snow for about 4 or 5 days, and it went down to about -10. And all of a sudden, people were going crazy when they heard that. But then when it happened, like everybody saying, "Oh, it doesn't feel that cold," and it's like, yeah, because it's frozen all the moisture out of the air after a few days, and it's not the damp cold that you normally get all the time.
yeah.
It doesn't feel bad.
And it is the damp cold that is the killer, isn't it? Because it gets into you, it seeps inside you. Brian says, I see this in book reviews of classics by younger people who say that a plot was familiar or predictable, like something they had read before. And I'm like, this book is the originator of that plot. Brian, I totally agree. It's one of my biggest bugbears when people, it's like when people have a go at well-known works for different things, when the work is well known because of the thing people are having a go at it for. For example, I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, I suppose, and I know you've talked about it before, Brian. Maybe Gone with the Wind, for example, when people say, "Oh, I didn't like the book; it's got slavery in it," or something like that, and you think, well, you know that before you go in. So it's always seems strange to me to dislike something for the reason that, or for what that's in the book before you even read it, right? So it's like you make the choice to read it, fine. And it's the same with these things, how these people always say, oh yeah, it's like so cliched, and you're like, well, God's sake, the book's 300 years old. It wasn't a cliche when they wrote it.
Well, it's the same as in film, when people watch older films. And it's like, well, we were talking at some point about TV and TV comedy. Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, I thought we'd mentioned something similar before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, he originated so much stuff that everybody copied off of. So like I've known a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the same old shtick." No, it isn't. It's the original shtick.
Yeah, they can't get their head round it that when that somebody had to be the first person to do it, in which case it would have been you. And the fact that it's become a cliche, I think, shows that it was popular and original, and people wanted to imitate it, and that's where we got it. Like when people call Pride and Prejudice a romance novel, when romance novels were inspired by works like Pride and Prejudice. Well, I don't know, Brian. It depends which definition of romance you're going for here.
There was lots of love stories before Pride and Prejudice, but they decided to use that as the template to do probably tens of thousands of Regency romances, love stories.
But this is the thing with the word romance, isn't it? Because it's a love romance.
Yeah, that's why I said love story.
Yeah,
like it's Don Quixote is a romance.
Yeah. King Solomon's Mines is a romance. So yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? All this terminology. Doesn't every generation think they've invented? Well, that's it exactly. But I still love when I read something old about sex, I have to say, because I get like, oh, they were randy. But actually, the funny thing is, quite often the further back you go, the worse they were, right? So, like as you were saying about Rabelais, for example,
Mm.
you know how bad it is. I mean, look at Chaucer. You know, there's lots of dirty, rude stuff in Chaucer, and it's kind of funny that we don't. And actually, they were talking about it on that Miriam Margolyes thing, the one on YouTube, the Dickensian swearing. They were talking about how certain words were normal terms. So, like the word shall not be uttered on this channel that we deem as the worst word in the English language, would have appeared as a normal word in an anatomy book, 500 years ago, for example.
What word's
Don't
that?
say it. What?
I can't think of it. But
You can't think of it. All right. Yeah. Yeah. But that's funny, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, it's perfectly normal. And in some versions of the Bible, there are like words that are extremely offensive today appear because when the King James Bible was written, it was like a normal word at the time. So it's funny. It's funny how powerful words can still be, really.
well, that's the thing, and I think some people miss it with something that you notice if you read a lot of science fiction, because they'll use the common swear words that everybody has now, and it's supposed to be thousands of years in the future. And I'm going, I'm not too sure about that. I doubt it's still, those words are going to still have the resonance of it. It could be something as simple as a really derogatory and horrible word to say to someone is wife or husband or something like that could turn out to be considered very, very foul. You never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. I mean, just look at it. I mean, when I did the look at, for example, Samuel Johnson's words and things, look how many of those don't exist anymore. And it's only 300 years ago. And then if you check out this, I will send you the link for the Dickensian thing. I mean, that's not that long ago. It's 150 years ago. And a lot of them just don't exist anymore. I'm sure, if we could ask our grandparents for some words that they remembered from their youth. In fact, I can think of a couple actually from my youth that barely are used anymore, or can't be used anymore. Because obviously attitudes and things changed. So now it's considered, whereas before we would have used words as kind of like not being really against a group, but like just to be arguably degrading to one particular person who's annoying you. Now, of course, it's like seen to embody whole groups of people, and you can't say it.
Well, the thing is, it's like, it's words like, because you do see it in books, you see it in films, and even when I was a kid, the word retard was everywhere, and it didn't mean a group of people. It just meant that one person that was a little strange, and they didn't have any mental illness whatsoever, but somehow it has turned around. But it was even a medical term, I think, so at the time. But today you could never use it in the same way, because it has gained a new meaning.
Well, I mean, I think you can't. I mean, it's a French origin, and I think the French still use it as to be late. And I think it just meant, like in English slang, to call somebody retarded meant that they were slow, not necessarily mentally disabled, but they were. I don't know if we can say even dim-witted these days, but they were not. They were not the sharpest tools in the shed. And now it seems we can't
Not too long ago, there was a Saturday Night Live with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, Brian.
By Brian, and with Pierce Brosnan, and they were making fun of Bush Jr. And they sort of had Bush Sr. on there, or well, not somebody pretending to be Bush Sr. And they're talking.
Funny if they had the real one on there to take the mick out of Junior.
But they were talking about GW. And they're going, we used to call it retardation, and that wasn't too long ago. That was in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of things changed. So the Miller's Tale for a class of 14. Well, there you go. I'm impressed that you were doing Chaucer at 14 because a lot of schools wait for A-level English to tackle Chaucer. So that's pretty good going.
Quite young.
Hey, Amy, good to see you. Merry Christmas to you. Winterlin says the wife thing actually happened with the German equivalent of vibe.
Okay.
So it became insulting or like a swear word. Alan joined just as you were saying the R word. And he resembles that remark, he says. So, yeah. No, I don't know. It's too confusing. Sometimes I do worry that I can't keep on top of what's in vogue or out of vogue or what you can and can't say. So, it's probably just better. I think if you think you can't say it, you err on the side of caution. Just don't say it right these days.
Well, the thing is, like you used to say, like an English thing, if you said bloody, that really was something that was a terrible thing. And today, that said anything. Yeah, and even to say "fuck" is not much to anybody today. There's only
my channel, man. Come on.
but the C word seems that just really cuts deep for some reason, and I don't understand that. But it's just somehow that has more resonance. So if you want to call anybody something, use the C word.
I think what part of the problem is that, of course, it's it's part of a gender. It's part of a woman's anatomy. So I think people take exception, of course, to the fact that it's used and can be used in such a way that's pejorative and negative. But the thing is, it's a bad word in a lot of languages. Like the worst word you can say in Czech is a derivative or a Czech version of that word.
Okay.
But what I find very strange in Czech is they have two words for it, and one of them sounds nicer than the other one. That sounds more like our version, but is less bad. So the one that sounds nicer is actually the worst one to say to people here. Whereas I think it's quite all right. It sounds like in my mind, it's like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, fine,
But then you get all these other, that they play on words and stuff like that. Mrs. Slocum's pussy, that she's always talking about, or warming her pussy up in the oven because it was so cold, in the morning. And it's like everybody's giggling over this, and it's like it's like schoolboy giggling,
Yeah. It's true. Well, I remember.
I was told a joke when I was really young as a kid by some 90-year-old guy. He was in the First World War. It was a joke that there's three words to this joke, or the punchline is they're just normal words, but put together they mean something else. But you could just think this is over 100-year-old joke, obviously by now. Like, what are the three parts of a wood stove? Like, I have to add the word wood stove because it originally would have been just three parts of a stove.
Chimney. Logs. I don't know. Grate.
You're on sort of the right area. Lifter.
Yeah.
And all stoves have legs.
Yeah.
And then you get a piece of metal that you mix up the coals. It's poker. Called the poker. So you string those lifter, leg,
poker. Oh my goodness.
And that's over 100 years old, But there's nothing offensive about those words.
On their own, not. It's just how you use them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like George Carlin saying, there's things that you cannot say. Snatch the pussy and put it in a box.
Jesus Christ, this is my channel.
But you're grabbing a cat.
Yeah, and sticking it in a crate or something. Yeah, it's true. But what's
wrong with that?
What was I going to say? Another word that it's kind of a strange one because I don't think it was negative because it was the word spastic.
Yeah. There was
the society that looked after people with the condition. I can't remember what is the correct condition. Was called like the National Spastic Society or something, right?
Yeah.
And then I know when I was at school, kids would use it in a derogatory way. But the thing is, yeah, I suppose how you look at it, right? Like they would call someone who was being a bit, stupid or dense or whatever, and they'd say, you're such a spastic. I don't think they ever meant it as like against people who had that disease. It was just,
no, it was something else. But
and so they changed the even the society's not even called that anymore, right? I think it's called Scope. Is it maybe Scope in the UK? I don't know, but yeah, sorry.
Well, there's a book. It's something like a Diary of a Spastic or something like that. It was a really popular book, and there was no derogatory, I don't think, meant with that at all. I think it was I think it's Diary of a Spastic. I'm not something like that. If you probably search for it, you probably find it.
Merry Christmas, Gareth. It's a good time to pop in when we're having all these things. I wonder if anyone popped in at the lifter poker leg or lifter leg poker when they popped back out again.
Leg and
lifter leg and poker. Yeah, okay. And then they just pop out again. Whoa, what have we walked into? So yeah, I mean, I find it endlessly fascinating, and that's what this Margulies and Susie Dent talk about. Is just how fascinating it is, and you could talk forever on just words, where they come from, what they mean, how people use them. Just fascinating.
It's like double entendres and everything like that. There's all sorts of ways you can use language to have a different meaning for something, and that's where, like, I like comedians that do that, like the two Ronnies. They always did wordplay on stuff. And some of it you may go, oh yeah, it's a bit silly, but
yeah, the four candles.
Yeah, and then the Xbox
Yeah.
for the updated version.
I can't keep up with some things. I mean, and the problem is I don't always know what they mean. A colleague of mine asked me what woke meant the other day. Now, woke is a relatively new term. It didn't exist 5 years ago.
Does it actually stand for something? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I've never really looked it up, but I assume from the way I hear it used is it's somebody who at least perceives that they are or have been awoken to perceived injustices or you know what I mean? So if you're woke, you are open. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. I don't really know, but because it's quite a new word. And so it just feels weird when, someone says to me, luckily a colleague, not a kid, Mark, what does woke mean? I'm like, well, actually, I never thought about it. It means, somebody who's awake, who's woken up to, how terrible we've all been in the past, in the words we've used and the things we've done. So Just the way I
I
see it. I
don't
don't know.
know, but there's all sorts of things like people use terms now for things. It's just go to gender. It took me a long time, and then like I started seeing something called cis, and I'm going like I first thought it was a short form for sissy.
What is it?
It's supposed to be I don't know what it stands for, but it's supposed to be that it's somebody who's born with the genitals of their gender. I don't know where this came from.
Someone born with the genitals of their gender.
Yeah, so if they are male, they're born with male genitalia. If they're born female with a female genitalia, and they see themselves as female, then that's what I understand is cis. But when you first hear it and people don't explain what it is, you don't have a clue what it is.
But if you're born with a man's part and you identify as a man, then you're just a man, aren't you?
That's a cis male, apparently.
Can't deal with it. I honestly, I do wonder if the people that these words or these actions purport to defend and look after, if they really give a crap half the time. I mean, do you think? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just extremely fortunate that
You're gonna get jokes.
I'm not persecuted in any way, but I just feel, I don't know. It's like generally, for example, I guess like fat jokes don't bother me a huge amount. I'm not going to lose sleep over hearing them and stuff. I'm not going to feel persecuted, the world's against me, whatever, something like that. And I just wonder half the time if if people are actually really bothered. What do we got here? Cis equals straight. What used to be called straight.
Okay, I guess that's the same thing, but I was explained that it meant that you were born. Yeah, I don't know.
See, this is where you have to be careful not to use the word normal, because it isn't, but it is in one level, isn't it? Right?
Well,
I mean, it's the what do you call it? The majority of something. It becomes like a norm, doesn't it? So, like most men with male parts identify as men. Most. Now, I have no scientific grounding to back that up, but I mean, that's probably true, isn't it?
Thing is, once you get all this stuff, you're going to get jokes like I saw somebody, which I thought was clever again, using language, but I know it's going to offend people. The guy says, well, he's going to identify as invisible because he's transparent.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a clever thing of words, but somebody's going to find that offensive. But you're going to have that happen once you start trying to change definitions.
The problem is, though, where does one draw the line in terms of like what people choose to identify as? Because surely you can just choose whatever you want eventually.
Well, that's like, you do see these things where some occasionally somebody's saying like there's over 200 and some genders, and I'm going, huh? How does that happen? How does that work out?
And I think also, I mean, it's very interesting as well. Like, I would be interested to know how it works out scientifically, because probably, science dictates there are maybe three genders.
If you go by genetics, like somebody is going to be genetically X, or Y or whatever. They're going to be genetically a certain way, and that can't change. You're
going to be biologically something. You cannot, like, that is what you are.
But if you don't feel that way, then that's fine. You feel like something else. That's fine. But the thing is, it's like, how can you like, I just don't get the 200 and some. That's the thing, and that just boggles my mind. And I'm going, I can't think that many.
Well, I'm just glad we don't have words for it all.
Well, they probably do. They probably
pronouns and everything. I can barely keep up with what we've got. So,
well, I think there are words and pronouns for all that as well. Like, and it's just like we just don't know it. Somebody comes up with it, and there might be, I don't know. It's just I don't understand it.
Let's go through the comments and see if we've got ourselves in trouble. Don't call me Four Eyes. Okay, I won't. Cis taken from music theory. I didn't know that. You need to choose your words very carefully nowadays. I think that's true. Very true. Irish take offense at Lucky Charms cereal. Just kidding. The Irish aren't retired. And I'll put. Well, I probably a lot of Irish don't know what Lucky Charms are. I don't know if you can even get them in Ireland. So this is short for assigned at birth, which is bloody strange, as nobody has any choice in the matter. Well, yeah, I suppose that's true.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
I'm still stuck at two genders. Yeah. No, I don't think it just age is a thing. I appreciate everybody's right to decide to be what they want to be. I think part of my problem is when I'm being told by the people who are not those people what I have to say or think about those people, if that makes sense. It's very unusual. You have the people themselves standing up for themselves and saying, hey, I'm the fifth gender and I want, you to call me such and such. Usually it's going to be some cis male or cis female telling me, do you know what I mean? I think that it's the same with a lot of these things. It's like when things come down to perceived, I don't know, racisms or stuff. Quite often, the person who is the person who should be offended says nothing, doesn't give a crap, water for ducks back, and yet it's another 40-year-old white guy who's on a crusade to say to me, no, you can't say such and such, where basically no one gives a crap. So it's these things, I think. I totally support everybody's rights to be and do whatever they want to be. I mean, it's just, good for them. Live and let live, right? Why can't we all just get along? Goodwill, peace on earth, goodwill to all men, all that. You see, goodwill to all men. I got myself. Goodwill to all humans and other beings and life.
You see, women in the past, like writers, would use the term mankind. They did not mean just men at the time. It was a catch-all term meaning humanity. But it was
humanity. It's the problem. It's the problem.
It was known to mean that. But yeah, now you can't say that. But
you can't. It becomes extremely difficult, like in other cultures and languages. Like I notice now, you never hear actress. And that's something that's disappeared in.
I still say it all the time.
But it's hard for us because I think the thing is, we've spent more years saying actress or stewardess or policewoman. We've spent more years saying those words than we've had without them. So it's hard to break your habits that you grow up with and all these things. And especially when it's not, I think, and this may be for some people controversial, I don't think it's that important. Is Judi Dench really going to be offended if you call her an actress instead of an actor? And I don't know why being an actress is somehow seen as being inferior to being an actor.
Well, they still get awards for being female lead instead of an actress.
That's right. If they truly did it would be the best actor.
Yeah,
and
period.
It could be a man or a woman.
Yeah, that's child true. Or whatever. Then.
Yeah, a horse.
Yeah.
But
you see, it's not. because there are different things. Like, it's not too often that you get a man being able to play a female part really good, or a female the other. Except there are glaring exceptions for that. What's her name? Linda Hunt in The Year of Living Dangerously, where she played Billy Kwan. When I first saw that, and I found out this, no way, that's not a woman, but it was, and she just did it so marvelously because she's such a great actress or actor or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And if you
But
have,
where would she get the award? Would it be for the best male lead because the character was male?
Well, I think they do say
I don't know.
In a male lead. No.
Yeah,
male in a lead. No.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you mention those 200 genders or whatever you said before, imagine how long the Oscars would be then.
Oh yeah.
You're right. I mean, but you see, this is my problem with a lot of this stuff. Is it's basically half-assed, as you said. In some circles, right? Ban the word actress, but keep the division between male and female actors.
Yeah. So to me, why can't you say actress then?
Yeah. But the interesting thing I was going to say is that it doesn't work in some languages. Like Czech, we've talked about this before, Sean, but like in Czech, you have male and female versions of words, and linguistically and grammatically, you have to use them. A teacher, učitel, is a man. Učitelka is a female teacher. And even the endings on names tell you if that person is male or female. And the language works very much with masculine, feminine, and neutral, words. It would be much easier to do away with them and do away with other parts of the language. But I think, you can't restructure global languages to please.
Well, there's no way you could do it with France because they protect their language because you got masculine and feminine words there. So that's not going to happen, at least anytime soon.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, though, we never really saw the division in writing. I mean, you don't hear the expression authoress very much or anything like that, do you? A writer's a writer or an author's an author. Yeah. I don't remember there being really such a division. I mean, you might have referred to someone as a female writer or a male writer or whatever, but the word, the profession itself sounds very egalitarian, really, doesn't it? So, comedian, yes, great example, Sean, and Julie Andrews as well.
Yeah, and what the hell is the name of the movie?
In my head, it's Blake Edwards, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't think of the name. Yeah.
Just in a tuxedo, isn't she?
Yeah. With yes.
Dudley Moore? No,
not Dudley Moore. It was Rockford from James Garner.
James Garner.
And, Robert Preston. I just have it on the tip of my tongue.
It is a name, isn't it?
Yeah, but doubled.
Victor Victoria.
Yeah, Victor Victoria. Yeah.
Victor Victoria. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, that's an
example. What would she get? Because she is playing a male at some point and then playing a female.
But is she always playing? Is she playing a male, or is she just a female playing a male?
She's a female playing a male.
So she's still a female.
Yeah, so it would be the female lead. Yeah.
But you see, imagine that, right? If you're doing away with all the gender specifics in our vocabulary, if you do the same in names, it's going to be quite confusing then, isn't it? So there's no more Queen Victoria, it's Queen Victor.
Yeah.
You can't feminize the names anymore. So you won't have Queen Henrietta. You'll have Queen Henry.
Well, the other thing is too, yeah, for the Oscars, that you've only got one for the film.
Merry Christmas, Ray. Yeah, the best
And
film.
yeah, well, no, but the best actor. So one
Yeah.
for the whole film. So regardless of whether they're children or what about there are there Oscars for animals? I don't know. There's Oscars for like animal trainers and stuff like that. There's
Yeah,
these.
I don't think so, but they should. Well, there are not that many films really with animals anymore, and
Yeah,
if they
but
use CGI.
but what I mean is, like, how do you then you're gonna have to because you've got somebody who's playing King Arthur, and then you've got somebody who's playing Guinevere. So how do you choose? Like, those are two vastly different roles that are gender based, regardless of what somebody wants to think. They are gender based. So do they not require or should have an award for that? And then if there's a child in there, shouldn't
Yeah,
they
I think
have?
the point these days is that they're not gender based, are there? There's no rule now that Guinevere has to be a woman or Arthur has to be a man. I mean, Arthur could be, these days, anything,
Elvis.
anyone,
Elvis.
huh?
Elvis.
Could be, you know. That's the thing, Once these I don't know what you call them, not barriers, but like these distinctions or whatever are broken down, you could have, an African American transgender Arthur and a Chinese, a British Chinese gay man transvestite Guinevere, couldn't you?
Well,
I mean, it wouldn't.
it
No,
comes
I
down
mean,
to
people would. I mean, you get the complaints that you normally get with these kind of things, but
it
you
does
can
really
still
come
do it.
down to when you're acting, is it whether you've got the talent to do it or not. But that's really what matters. However, part of you can't get beyond the fact that people do see things. Like, if it's just a voice on the radio, it doesn't matter. It's like what is it? William, what is it? The guy who played Cannon.
Yeah, Jake and the Fat Man guy.
Yeah. But he's really short.
But big fat guy.
Yeah. But he was the voice of Matt. What's his name from Gunsmoke on the radio, and,
Yeah.
and his character was supposed to be like 6'5". He could not play that on screen, but on radio it works fine. That doesn't matter. But the thing is, once you get a visual, people are visual, and that is part of the element, and you can't get rid of that, and that's part of the thing, and that has to be, I think, accommodated to a certain extent.
And all that can be glossed over with computer animations and things now, right? I mean, we don't need the actors to be even physically there. I mean, everything can be animated, really.
Yeah, but it's still like I don't know. You're going to need a really artificial intelligence or something to be able to do the quirk. Like, otherwise, all the actors are going to be just a carbon copy of each other. They're going to be just.
Well, aren't they anyway? To be honest, these days.
Yeah,
I mean, I find it very hard to get excited about anything that's produced, that comes out these days. But I was wondering about like what difficulties it would be if you, if instead of having the actors live, you had everything animated. It wouldn't matter the skin color or the gender or the whatever of the actors, but it would probably cause problems if the animated version didn't reflect the actor, wouldn't it? The voice actor. I'm just trying to think, like, if you employed a black actor to be, for example, King Arthur in an animated show, and he's doing the voice, but the animation was still white.
Yeah, to me that's like radio voice. Like that's a different thing because you're still seeing the visual. So like, you know, basically,
I'm sure people would look at that as problematic, that the fact that you know, that you're using a black actor but he's voicing a white character.
Yeah, you see, to me that wouldn't matter because it would matter of his ability to voice act.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, on the radio, it doesn't matter. You can have you can have a character. You can have an 80-year-old woman playing a 20-year-old woman that's a beautiful starlet, but she's got a really young voice. You know, she's 80 years old, but you know, visually it just won't work. But acting wise, it can work. But you see, that's what I mean, because when you do have a visual aspect, if you do see these people or the actor, you can't separate that. People cannot separate. It's not possible because that is part of the experience. That's the part of the viewing experience, I think.
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, there's a good when you mention the radio and stuff, there was some people who were upset. They saw this promotion for a new Oliver Twist, and there were a couple of black actors in it. Like I don't know whether one was Oliver even, or I can't remember. But it was funny because people are like, you know, here we go again. It's just like, you know, we know these characters were white, you know, generally, and it doesn't matter. I think the difference is always like, is it are they trying to make the character black, or the black actor's just playing that character, if that makes sense. I think that's the fine line. But then it transpired that it wasn't actually a new television production at all. It was a new audiobook production.
Yeah.
And then people are like, it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah, because I don't think it matters. Like I think it can matter because there is a visual aspect to it.
You're alive, Carrie. You made it. I'm so glad. I've been so worried. But no, I think it's an interesting point. But the big thing, I think, well, I suppose it depends. I mean, if you're a white actor voicing a black animation, if you're just using your voice, it's probably okay. If you are imitating, see, this is the problem. I mean, this is one thing I never understand with it, is acting, which is imitating or pretending.
Yeah.
So unless you're deliberately being offensive, it shouldn't really matter anybody's skin color. Like, you know, if I go to a production of Julius Caesar by Shakespeare, and the actor happens to be a black actor, it doesn't bother me because he's just playing Julius Caesar. It's not like they're trying to change. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're trying to change things, or I don't know. I can't put my.
Well, I know what you're saying, but the thing is, because you're actually seeing the people, that adds a different element to it, I think. And I don't know if that's, but then again, it's like in the 30s.
Well, think about
Orson Welles. Orson Welles did the black. Yeah, well, no, but he directed in Harlem black actors to do Shakespeare, and that caused a bit of a stink. And that was a big stink at the time. But these were really good actors apparently that were doing this. But again, it's like, you know, in some ways that's a little different. Stage acting might be a little different. Is it different than because it's on TV or on film? I don't know. But when you do have the visual aspect, that there becomes part of the whole ensemble and everything.
I suppose, but the thing is,
it has to be taken into account, I think.
But you're asked to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
So half the crap you're watching anyway is nonsense, right? So if King Arthur is black, but it's only the fact that the actor happens to be black, you're not trying to like repurpose the legend of King Arthur or something like that, then I don't see that as being particularly problematic. I mean, after all, it didn't exist. It wasn't real. Sometimes it does annoy me when it's done in a way like somebody was, blatant. But you see, this is the difficult thing. Again, it's acting. Then you are saying only white actors can play white roles and only black actors can play black roles. It would really limit a lot of things. I mean, it would be very problematic, I think, for a lot of people if you had a white actor playing Othello, or especially if that white actor, what's the term, blacked up? Is it blacked up to play Othello?
Faced, yeah.
But it would be weird having a white actor playing Othello because Othello's not even meant to be white.
Yeah,
but then you're saying that actor, whoever plays Othello, can now only be black.
Yeah, but the thing is, but you see that white person was pretending to be black.
Yeah, but they weren't doing it in a way to denigrate black people.
No, they weren't.
They were acting, pretending.
Yeah, and because there is that visual aspect to it, and that's the thing. It is difficult, but then it's like sort of how far can you go with this? Like it's like
I have to ask. Sorry, Shaw. One second. I have to ask what movie.
What?
Oh, Reading is Breathing is off to watch a movie. She said, "Have a good evening." Now, because we've been talking about acting and movies, I wonder if we've inspired her to watch a particular film. So, anyway, go on. Sorry.
No, I just thinking like, okay, then if you do, if they put a black actor in for a that was clearly a white person, or a white person for a black actor, and that should be okay as well, perfectly correct if they can do the job correctly. But then do you go just for skin color? What about for female to male? And now do you have the male dress up as a woman to do that? And then that could be problematic. Or do you have them dressed up as a male, but everybody else thinks that they're a woman?
Well, it's funny because I went to an all boys school. I went to an all boys school at primary school, and we put on production of the Christmas Carol, right? And so, Mrs. Cratchit was a boy wearing a dress.
Exactly.
And
you do that now, there would be probably outrage. It would be like having blackface in a certain extent. It's similar to that because they're pretending to be that. So
I think you make a good point as well, though, when you say like it should come. The motivation for the casting is important, and the reason behind it. It should not be a token gesture. Whatever the actor, white, black, whatever, whoever, should be there purely based on merit. I think I really do believe that. It's like I do notice in a lot of these television productions now, like when you see some Victorian scene in London, they love to pepper the background. Sorry, oh my god, the background. I was going to say with black or Asian actors, which of course they existed in London in Victorian times. Of course they did, but the volume that you are seeing when you are watching a snapshot of that scene on BBC Play or whatever, showing even Dickensian London, it doesn't quite ring true to me. And to me, that in some ways is a little bit more maybe insulting or upsetting to people probably, but the fact they're being used as basically token things. I think it would be much more, you know, making Scrooge can be played by anybody, but just I don't know. It's weird. I can't explain it, and we've dropped off a load of viewers, so probably it's a bad topic. But you know.
Yeah, but no, it's just. But the thing is that when you do have a visual thing, that is part of the whole acting thing, is the visual aspect.
Yeah.
And that's why people get dressed in costumes for this. So you know, that all, like the skin color is going to matter for that. So and that's the thing. That's where, like, if a woman is able to dress up as a man and be convincing as a man, then to me that's perfectly fine. And vice versa. But it's kind of hard. Like I don't know. It's not very convincing when they put the black face on a white person to pretend that they're black. It would be as silly as a black guy putting white face on to be a white person. But to like you say, they'll stand out in stuff that it's not really historically accurate. They did this with Les Miserables, and they had, what is it, Javert, I think, as a black actor. And I'm not sure, like, from what I understood, I haven't seen it, but what I understood was that he was black in the show too. He wasn't just an actor playing, and you're supposed to see him as white. That he was supposed to be black, and I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. There weren't many black people in Napoleonic France to begin with, and
Alexandre Dumas.
Yeah, but he was, yeah. But the thing is that it's for somebody a black person to actually raise to that point would be amazing. And if anybody ever did, that's the story they should be telling. Should not do this, do that story. And
I agree with you there.
Yeah, but other people, like young people, are going to watch this, and if you don't talk about all the problems, are they going to say? And then they hear something that black people had, or people of color have had problems in the past to do things, and then they see everywhere black people in shows being magistrates, policemen, rich, and everything like that. How are they going to reconcile that?
And I think that's true. There are so many amazing stories that could be told involving, Africans, Asians, that just aren't. I mean, like, I think we mentioned before about that production on Channel 4 where they had I think it was a black actress playing Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, fine, whatever. But, it's a story done to death. The Tudors, but there's, I forget her name. For example, the Madagascar Queen story. There was this Queen of Madagascar for a while. It's very brutal, amazing, interesting story, but I can't for the life of me remember her name. No one's made a film about that. That would be a great film to make. Why make another film about Anne Boleyn? Just to show that, oh yeah, we can cast anybody as Anne Boleyn. It's fine. But there are some comments I should go back to.
Yeah.
Aaron says, with Shakespeare, it's always seemed different as you're seeing a version of Shakespeare, and even more so when it's a history play, which is Shakespeare's version of that event. That's true. The exceptions to this, of course, are Othello and the Merchant of Venice, where the main character's race and ethnicity is an important part of the play. Indeed, I agree, Aaron, but how do you get around this, without offending people? I mean, can Othello still be played by a white actor without, well, I suppose, just pretend that he is a Moor, but not put any makeup on or anything like that? I suppose it can be just something. Can a non-Jewish actor play Shylock? Is that okay? Does that offend people now? I don't know. Bear in mind that they are both fictional creations of a non-black or non-Jewish author. I do think Alan's point is interesting here. I saw a production of Richard III in Chicago, who was in a wheelchair and also used electric legs. Great performance. But you see, I think in that respect, probably you can use any form of disability when playing a character like Richard III. I mean, because one, it's arguable even if he really had any kind of hunchback or any kind of disability anyway. But if that's a part of his character, then you can kind of substitute anything. So that's kind of cool, I think. If
Well, I suppose the only thing is that
Merry Christmas to you. Mm-hmm.
That the actors have to speak.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because you have the sound, so that is the one thing. But they have done things that were all sign language. They've had deaf and I have the term is correct today, mute people. That's like, I'm not sure how that works.
I think Carrie's right. We're trying to apply modern aesthetics to historical settings in some circumstances. Mm.
Yeah, and I don't think it should be. It's like, if it is a historical thing, leave it the way it is, and do the things. If you want to do a black policeman, like thinking of Les Miserables in France, there may never have been one, so you fictitiously do one, but you talk about the problems that person would have had, to get to there, and or go somewhere else where somebody did do that and tell that story. That's an important thing to be told.
Sorry, I just have to munch on a throat pastel because I'm all. So there's a newer Macbeth with Denzel. I was thinking it's terrible, isn't it? I at first I was thinking Othello, but you actually mean Macbeth. Hey Mark, Merry Christmas to you. If I haven't said it already. Carrie, yeah, same storylines have been recycled so many times. I agree with you, Mark. Many stories out there to be told. It requires a little more research and imagination. And that's totally true. There's just laziness. Nobody wants to.
So why even bother? Then you don't have this problem. Then you won't have the problem of a white person wanting to be playing a black person. You won't have that problem because everybody will have their own roles. If you'll have older people playing older people, and younger people playing younger people, children playing children. Like it's kind of funny at times when you see like a 60 or 70-year-old, supposed to be playing a 20-year-old and then winds up as a 60-year-old. That doesn't quite work.
And it's interesting, Cat Dance, you mentioned this about the Black Mozart. I heard a program about it on BBC podcast called You're Dead to Me, and I can't for the life of me remember the gentleman's name. But it's a fascinating story, a great story, and it should be told, and it would be I'm sure it'd be a great film. But you see, to me, that's insulting. And I know it's not you using that. I'm sure the blurb will always probably say something like the Black Mozart. Why do they feel the need to do that? Why do they feel the need to say, to use Mozart's name at all?
So is this somebody who was a composer?
Yeah. I can't remember his name. It was very interesting story. There's this podcast called You're Dead to Me, and they do choose some very that was it, the Chevalier de Saint Georges, Joseph Boulogne. He was born in Guadeloupe, and he was a composer, basically. Very interesting life. But I don't know. To me, it just a little bit cheapens his achievements by having to then say, "Oh, he's the Black Mozart."
Yeah, well, I
know that's a tagline that Hollywood would use.
Yeah, but they do that. they do that with a lot of musicians and groups, because it's like,
The white Louis Armstrong.
Sorry?
The white Louis Armstrong, for example, or
I suppose so. But I was thinking more of like, the American Beatles or something like that.
yeah, well, yeah,
That's been used, and it's like, it is saying, oh, so you're trying to imitate the Beatles,
yeah,
rather than being your own.
yeah. That's it. Actors will be, yeah, there will definitely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They'll all, well, like you're saying, they're all the same now, but they'll definitely be all the same then.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll stop there. I mean, it's been a great discussion. We're going an hour and a half. It didn't feel like it. I suppose not overly Christmassy theme. Somehow we always manage to come back to our curmudgeonly political discussions and stuff that we have. But I'm sure, I hope everybody knows that we have frank discussions, and we never ever say anything that would intentionally, of course, offend or upset anybody. And I would say we are quite open-minded people, aren't we, Sean? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's like somebody once, I can't remember who said this. Pertinent answers require impertinent questions.
And I in some ways it would be really cool to have some more diversity within our area of booktube, in terms of actually knowing sometimes what other people think about some of the issues that we raise. I mean, I don't think we get even too many viewers or commenters who are of a different race to ourselves. Obviously we have the mix of genders, but even then I don't know if we have 200 of them stop by. So all Sean and I, when we talk about these things, can do is look at it from our own experiences and points of views, which may, of course, not tally with your own, but it doesn't mean that we are pontificating or, having any sort of agenda. It's just we try to say things as we see them, and never. It's just my little disclaimer at the end.
Yeah, well, it is an interesting thing about BookTube. I don't know if you go and search around for stuff. You do see a lot of most booktubers that are in English appear to be white for some reason, and mostly male. Well, no, there's a split, I guess. There's young female.
You see, it depends where you look and how you look. I mean, I've seen a lot of African American.
Are they in English? I've seen lots of people of color, but never speaking English.
I don't know. I think it just depends. I mean, it's so vast. I mean, in our own area, it's true. I think we are predominantly white in our group, as in who we seem to interact with. I don't think that's planned. I think it is just purely, of course, by chance. But I'm sure there are many booktubers of all sorts of.
Well, I hope there is, but I you don't see them, and that's part of YouTube's problem with the algorithm, because you don't see them. Like when you do, because what are you going to put in for a search term? I want, 50-year-old white guy, booktuber. That's not going to bring up anything, or it shouldn't bring up anything.
But if you think about what your reading tastes are, like, I mean, the likes of you, me, to some degree, Carrie, Mark, I'm sure wouldn't mind me saying that he's probably in there. There's something that does link us all, and perhaps there is some relationship sometimes between our experiences and things, and how and what we choose to read. Now, if you are a booktuber of color, you might be reading very different books. So you're not looking, it's like not all white people, of course, read the same books as us, but people of our like, you know, we're similar age and we have similar interests, we're going to read similar books. So we're
Yeah,
going to find each
that's
other.
if you search. That's if you search for specific books or authors. I can see that. But just in the normal course of things, when you put in BookTube, and I scroll through hundreds or thousands of videos, I only see like when I click on it, like I do this for the
There's
tag
Iron. All right.
tags for book tags, and I always think, oh, that sounds kind of neat, but it's not in English, so it's useless to me, and it's not. I can't translate it, so I don't know what this book tag is. I don't know what the questions are, but I don't see anything else. So
I think
that's
Aaron's.
wonder.
I think Aaron's. I think Aaron's right there because, you know, when I first started looking at BookTube, it was all youngsters and all YA, and they all had tens of thousands of subscribers, and I just never thought I would even jump on it. And then I can't even remember how I came across. It was probably I don't know. I think I want to say it was maybe Vin Revenant Reads, because I think it might have been. He would have been one of the first videos I saw. And oh, he only has a few, and I sent him a message. And Bill Rutenberg, I think, was another one. And suddenly I started to realize from them and seeing who they're kind of connected to. And then Michael K. Vaughan started around the same time as me. And I think when you're doing the newbie tags at certain times as well, I don't know, but eventually you form the community. But I didn't find it by looking. It was chance. Somebody, and I want to say it was Vin, but I can't remember exactly. Somebody in our sphere popped up, and through them I found other things. But otherwise, as Aaron says, you just look through and it is loads of teeny boppers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and you don't see
Stuff that had no interest in me. And I felt I was too old. I felt I couldn't possibly do this. People will laugh at me. And then you see, like, you know, Steve Donahue in his 82nd year or whatever it is, and you know, still going strong. So I was thinking, yeah, you know.
Well, and well, the thing is, should ask, you know, somebody who does mentioning newbie tags is MJ. I wonder, like, she searches for that. How many diverse ones does she find? Like, you know, that come up with it, and that's what I mean. I like, it's not that I've searched because I don't know what to search for. I've searched for tags, and I just don't get anything else. I don't get anything other than white people. You know, and yeah, mostly young people. That's the thing.
I thought, you know, yeah, but I think sometimes there is this, you know, like for like. So, like, if you do find a more diverse a booktuber with more diverse background, you might find within their community similar, you know, booktubers that you can then follow as well, right? So
Yeah, well, I'm waiting to find one because like I say, anytime I do see a person that's non-white, it's always they're generally non-speaking English. Like Juan is from Plagued by Visions, is to me one of the few that I've ever seen that is like he's ethnic other than sort of white American, you know, and it just if they're out there, YouTube's not allowing me to see this. It's not bringing it up.
maybe you've got like that old racist white guy filter on or something that is the default for men of your age, that, you know, you have to turn it off. Well, Merry Christmas definitely to you too, Karen. I agree. It's lovely people discussion there. Mainstream part, yeah, that's what we looked at there. I think books being read, and yes, it's the algorithm. Yeah, I totally think so. Bookish Realm is a great channel. I'm guessing maybe it's a more diverse booktuber. Carrie says she thought she was 10 years too old. I read too much nonfiction to gain any subscribers on BookTube. Yeah, I felt exactly the same way. And then, but I would say, you know, it has impacted my reading for sure in terms of the amount of nonfiction I've read has decreased since I've been on BookTube. But that's not been a bad thing. I've been enjoying what I've read. Loked Booktition. Loked Booktition is another. So
I'll be writing these down because I'm going to forget them.
Suggestions. We can go back afterwards.
Yeah.
And last comment here before we head off to bed, to our separate beds, I will add though. I found many during the Skoden readathon. I used to have difficulty finding male booktubers. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it was interesting. You said, Shawn, that your impression was they were mostly male, whereas my impression was they were mostly female.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like when I search for tags, but the thing is, it could be as somebody was sort of saying, the algorithm, like it might look at the stuff that I have read and talked about, so all it's bringing up is people that are similar to that.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, Freeman, and thanks. You see, this is the thing. And it's also a good thing that YouTube is colorblind in the sense of the comments, because we don't always know the person's background at all. So, but that's interesting. So, as a 58-year-old black man, you never see anyone like you on BookTube. So, I would say to you, Freeman, do it.
Yeah,
Start
do
the channel.
Yeah,
start the channel. Come on here.
So
Chat with us.
Well, at least that's good. At least it's not me that has not seen, that, it's just because I began to wonder, like, what is like, why isn't there, there, it is predominant. Like when I first started, it was predominantly young females in their teens, early 20s, doing YA, jumping around and screaming.
You may well start one next year. Well, I think do it. I mean, it's great fun. It really is. And I certainly don't regret it. You might not always have time. I think it's all about your motivation as well. So if you don't really care about how many subscribers you get and don't let these things bother you, and you don't feel you have to run to a particular schedule, then you can make some great friends and have some wonderful experiences. So I would say just make it a resolution for 2023 to get on here and
Mark, are we going to be on Wednesday again? Let's have Freeman on. Freeman, come on for Wednesday.
If Freeman would like to be on, why not? It's your hosting, and or is it my hosting? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm easy. No, it'd be great. And what is Wednesday though? Oh no, I'm not here on Wednesday. It's 28th Wednesday.
Why? What are you doing on the 28th?
It is Wednesday. Well, it is the party season. I have between Christmas and New Year. I know for someone who never goes out, I'm quite what's it? But the 29th should be all right. So the Thursday. But we kind of moved to Thursday anyway, didn't we?
Yeah, well, sort of, yeah.
So either one. So
yeah. Well, email me, Freeman, and
you could do Desert Island books, Shawn, in the new season. There you go.
Yeah, there's one, because I do want to do. I do want to do. That doesn't sound right. But I'd like to do. Subscribers. I was trying to set some up to do that, and that could be really neat. Just rather than the same, because ones that I'm not connected with, they're not interested. There's still a few booktubers and a few people that I've promised to do, which I'll do. But if I can start getting subscribers, that'd be great.
I think it'd be great fun to have subscribers on Desert Island Books. And maybe you could do it, because I know some people necessarily might not want to be videoed.
Yeah, it could be just the audio, because you can turn off the camera.
Exactly, do it as a podcast form. And you can do it on here and just have a picture of the island and just do it like it's a radio show. Or you can still be on there at least.
Yeah, or well, there's a way, like I can turn off the camera.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's better, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can put in a picture. It'd be kind of cool. Definitely.
It pulses. It pulsates.
Yeah, definitely an improvement. Oh, good God. No, but I think that's a wonderful idea, Sean, to get
Yeah,
subscribers on.
well, if I wanted to do that, I'm going to have to put out a video for it. So yeah, so that could be one way of doing it. Just have the voice. I don't know if there's any way to put up a picture instead of just having the pulsating. What is it? What is it pulsating? Is it camera or what is it? Oh, it's just like it doesn't even have my avatar or anything there.
Yeah, no, I thought it might do. Yeah. No, I'm sure there are ways to work it out. So,
But yeah, well, that thanks Freeman for that because I was beginning to think that there's something. Well, I guess that's one way to do it.
yeah, that's it. Like being chatting to myself. So, Sean, what are the top 8 books you want to take to the island with you? All right, so we've lost audio as well as sound, then maybe.
No, that's uh, now the audio's back and the camera's back.
Okay, there we go. Good. Wait, did you really lose sound, or were you joking around?
No, I muted the mic.
Oh, okay, good. All right then. So there we go. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a joy as always, and I'm, Merry Christmas from me, and
Merry Christmas from him.
that works. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye bye.